In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Pixlr to create an art project similar to this one. What you're going to do is use a nice, large, wide font to spell out your first name. And then in each letter, you're going to put an image of something that represents you, a hobby, an activity, just something that you find interesting and compelling. Next, you will add a drop shadow behind the letters, and in the background will be a colored gradient. As a final touch, you'll write your last name in a contrasting font and a contrasting color that will slightly overlap your name kind of down towards the bottom corner. First of all, what you need to do is get onto the internet and find images to use for this project. So this is my folder that I made on my Google Drive, and these are the 7 images that will go into the 7 letters that are in my name. Once you do that, go ahead and open Pixlr and create a new document by going to File, New Image. I will title this Name Project with my name on it, and I have 7 letters in my name, so I found that 550 works pretty well. Yours may be larger or smaller than that, depending on how many letters are in your name. 300 should work for everybody, and please do click Transparent, and then OK. Here is my blank canvas. The first thing that I'm going to do is save this. Go to File, Save. And normally we would just save this as a JPEG, but you might not be able to get this done in one period. So what I would like for you to do is click this menu to open your options and choose PXD, which is Layered Pixlr Image. What this will do is allow you to keep your layers after you close the project. That way, if you don't finish in one period and you have to open it again the next day, you'll have all of your layers intact. If you save it as a JPEG, you'll have to start all over again from the beginning. So I will save this into my folder. Okay, now I will select the text tool and I will click on the image and I'll write out in all caps my first name. You'll notice that I can click on this and move it around even though the text box is still open. So this font is too skinny. If I put images inside this, I barely get to see any of the image. So I'm going to go through my fonts, and one that is available on Chromebooks that is pretty nice is called Arial Black. I will increase the size of this until it is just large enough to fit on my document, and that looks pretty good right there, so I'll click OK. Right now, this layer is a text layer or a type layer, and I need to convert it into a image layer. So to do that, go to Layer, Rasterize Layer. Now this is an image. I will go ahead and open up my first image. So File, Open, and I chose these pink flowers here called Cosmos. I'll drag this down out of the way, then click on this layer, hold it and drag it, drop it onto the name document. I want to be able to see through that, so down here in the opacity box, I'm going to bring this down to where I can see the text. Now go to Edit, Free Transform. Hold down Shift on the keyboard and use only the corner handles to shrink the image. If you don't hold down Shift and use the corners, you will distort the image and make it look weird and stretched. So once you get it to the right size, move it around until you have a nice portion of the image showing inside the letter, and then hit Enter. Now I will make the opacity 100% again. And I will temporarily hide this layer by unclicking this checkbox. Click on the letters again. Get the magic wand tool and click the letter. Now I will make my flowers reappear again. Click this layer to select it. Go to Edit, Invert Selection, and then hit Delete on the keyboard. To deselect, the keyboard shortcut is Control-D. So what you should do next is use the same process to fill in every letter of your name. So I've already done that right here, and I'll show you the next few steps. First of all, I don't need this text anymore, and it's creating this weird black outline in some areas, which looks really awful. So I'm just going to take that and throw it in the trash. Now I'm going to make all of these separate layers merge into one layer. And to do that, I will go to Layer, Merge Visible. Now I will create a new layer, click it and drag it to the bottom, then use the gradient tool. This is where you change the color of the gradient, and you can scroll down to see more options. I'm going to choose this one right here. Then I will click and drag to create my gradient, and you can click and drag multiple times to change it if you want to, until you get it looking just the way you like it. So you can drag it shorter or longer or sideways or whatever types of options you want to explore. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my text layer and click this little button down here, which is called Layer Styles. And in Layer Styles, I'm going to click this box to add a drop shadow. Then I will click the words drop shadow to see more options here on the side. I think the shadow is really dark, so I'm going to back off on the opacity to make it lighter. Right now it's a hard edge shadow, and I want it to be a little softer, so I'm going to increase the size of it. There we go. And if you want to change the distance, it's this slider right here. So I'm happy with those changes. So well, before I do that, you can experiment with these different options too. And if you like any of those, you can add those onto your project. I'm just going to stick with the drop shadow and click OK. The last thing that I'm going to do is add my last name. So I will select the type tool again and type out my name. And I want to use a contrasting font that is a little bit different than the original font that I chose. So I'll just use Comic Sans. And the size of it looks a little large, so I'll make it a little smaller. I'm going to overlap it, maybe something kind of like this. And I do want to change the color to a kind of a dark magenta color, maybe something like that, and then click OK and OK. So now I will save this. File, save, and I'm going to call it number 2 because I already have another version of this. And this is my PXD format. And save. But Google Slides does not accept documents that has layers. So in order to put it in my tech portfolio, I have to save this, a second version of this, in a different format. So I'm going to go to File, Save, and change it to a JPEG. And I'm going to make the quality 100%, and then click OK, and click Save. Alright, now in my tech portfolio, I can make a new slide, and I will call it Name Project. Then I will click the Insert Image and choose an image to upload, and I'll get my project right here and click Open, And there it is. Looks a little bit blurry enlarged this much, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit to maybe something kind of like that. Alright, that's it for this video.